Hi, boys and girls. We're doing Chapter 10, Lesson 6, Equivalent Fractions today. Your learning intention is I'm learning how to make equivalent fractions so that I can compare fractions easier. So let's look at some vocabulary that we need. So here is our vocabulary for this lesson. Equivalent fractions are fractions that name the same part of the whole. Equivalent fractions are equal and have the same size. Notice that you can kind of see the word equal in the word equivalent. Let's take a look at that really quick. And this will help you to remember what equivalent means. If you look at the beginning of the word, you see equa. You actually have the AL over here. So equal is in the word. So equivalent means that they are equal. And that's the important thing, is that everything's the same shape, the same size, except, some of the pieces will be smaller, but the amount that's colored in or shaded will be the same size. That's the really key thing with equivalent fractions. Okay, so let's look at the pages we're going to be doing today. Oops, I'm on the wrong thing here. Okay, so we're going to be doing pages 601, 602, and 603. So let's take a look at page 601. So fractions that name the same part of the whole are equivalent fractions. Equivalent fractions are equal and have the same size. So there's our definition again that I just gave you. I actually copied it right from the book, so that makes it easy. So let's take a look at our word problem that we're going to be solving today. Noah has 1/2 of a fruit pizza. How could Noah cut the pizza into smaller, equal-sized pieces and still have half of the whole pizza? So we could divide this pizza up into pieces just for fun, just to see how that would work. So I'm going to cut this in half, and I'm going to color in the half that is Noah's right here. So I'll shade it in with this blue highlighter. It's a little hard to see because of the colors, but close enough. So this is Noah's half. Now I want to see if I can make smaller equal-sized pieces. Remember, equivalent fractions have to be equal. And so I'm going to make it into fourths. Half is still blue, but now it shows 2/4 are also 1/2. I could cut each quarter in half to make it 8 equal-sized pieces. And now I have 4/8, which is also equal to a half. If I want to live really dangerously, I can cut each eighth into 1/2, and I will end up with 16ths. And if you count the 16ths that are blue, oops, it's a little bit off, but anyway, close enough for hand drawing. If you count the pieces that have blue on them, you will see there are 8 out of 16, 8 16ths. So 8 16ths is equal to 1/2. Okay, so let's do the work we're actually here to do. So use 1/4 fraction tiles to equal the length of the 1/2 fraction tile model. So how many 1/4 tiles are there? So here you have a one whole, because we compare everything to the whole. We have 1/2 shaded in here, and we want the same number of 1/4 tiles not the same number, the same amount of quarter tiles as we have half tiles. And if you see right here, they both come to here. So they are the same size, and there are 2 quarters. So it takes 2 1/4 tiles to make 1/2. So 1/2 is equal to 2/4. They are equivalent. Remember that equal sign says the same as. So 1/2 is the same as 2/4. Okay, they are equivalent fractions. They represent the same part of one whole. Noah could cut half of the pizza into even smaller equal-sized pieces. So now we're going to use 1/8 fraction tiles to cover the same amount of space, and we're going to count those. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. So how many eighths fraction tiles are there? There are 4. Oops. There are 4. So 1/2 is the same as 2/4 is the same as 4/8. They are equivalent fractions. Half of the fruit pizza is the same as 2/4 or 4/8 of the pizza. Okay, let's continue on to the next page. And, oops, I didn't take everything off of here. I had to refilm this lesson. So let me go ahead and delete this really quickly. I thought I had already deleted those. Okay, let's try again. Nope, it won't come off. Okay, that's fine. I'll just write over it in a different color because I had saved it that way. Okay, so Kwan's bookshelf has 3 shelves. Only one of the shelves has books. Kwan says 1/3 of the shelves have books. His mom says 2/6 of the shelves have books. Are they both correct? You can use fraction tiles and number lines to find if the fractions are equivalent. So first you have your 1 whole fraction tile right here, because we compare everything to the whole. And you have 1/3, and then you have 2 of the 1/6 tiles that take up the same amount of space. So they would be equivalent. So Kwan says 1/3 of the shelves have books. Kwan's mom says 2/6 of the shelves have books. They're actually right because they are equivalent fractions. They say the same thing. So let's look on number lines. And number lines can be tricky to draw to compare fractions. So you have to be really cautious, especially with the 3rd and with the 6th, because they're a little harder to draw. But they've already drawn them here for us. So you can see that we have our point of origin. We have 0 and we have 1. And it's divided into 3 equal parts. So the denominators say 3. And then we just count the equal parts. So from 0, we should put 0/3 because I showed this to you the other day. 0/3, 1 part is 1/3, then 2 parts is 2/3, 3 parts is 3/3 or 1. Okay, so then they have the 6th down here. So you have your point of origin, which is your 0/6. Then one section is 1/6, then 2/6, then 3/6, then 4/6, then 5/6, and 6/6, which is equal to 1. So now if you look, though, at our 2 fractions that we're talking about, you have 1/3, because remember 1/3 of the bookshelf had books, and 2/6. Mother said 2/6 of the bookshelf has books. Well, if you look, they're right underneath each other. So they are equivalent. They're in the same place on the number line. So 1/3 of 1 whole shares the same point on the number line as 2/6. They are both correct. 1/3 equals 2/6. So they are equivalent fractions. Okay. Let's go down and do the guided practice. This is the part where you'll pause the video and write your answers. So you're going to complete, it's just one, that's all there is. So complete the number sentence with an equivalent fraction. So you have 1/2 equals how many fourths? So pause the video, write the numerator in the box, and then unpause the video. Okay, so you can see that there are, 1, 2/4. So you should have 2 as your numerator. 1/2 is equal to 2/4. Okay, let's take a look at the independent practice. If you're not in my class and you have your own directions from your teacher, then that is totally fine. You can just pause the video and go on with your independent practice. For my class, you need to listen and so that you know what to do. Okay, this is pretty easy, so it's not going to take a lot of explanation. You're basically going to compare each of the pictures, and then you're going to write the missing parts of the fractions. So for number 2, you have 1/2 equals how many 6? So you just need to count how many 6 there are. Here for number 3, you have these 2 circles. The first circle goes with this fraction, and the second circle goes with this fraction. So this one you have 6/8, but you need to know how many fourths is equal to 6/8. So you'll write in the number for how many are shaded green. Okay, so then scrolling down here a bit, you've got 2/4, you'll need to find 2/4 on the top number line, and then you'll want to see what is directly underneath it for the equivalent fraction. So I would recommend drawing a big box, a big rectangle from 2/4 down to the fraction right underneath it, or you could draw a big circle or something like that. So this number line will go with this answer right here. And then number 5, they gave you 1/3, and you are going to figure out the fraction that goes here. You will get a point for each of the boxes. It's worth only like 10 or 12 points, something like that. Okay, so let's look at the bottom. You're going to match each pair of equivalent fractions. So you're going to look at the fraction on the left and then find the one on the right that is the same size, it takes up the same space, and you're going to draw a line from the fraction bar on the left to the orange dot next to the one that is its equivalent. Okay, so that is how you do equivalent fractions.